Hansa Park is a theme park located on the north end of Germany, right along the Baltic Sea, not too far away from Denmark. The closest major city to it is probably Hamburg, Germany. They got 7 roller coasters and it's a very nicely landscaped park. Looks great, mainly known for their 2 Gerstlauer roller coasters, Der Schwere des Kernen and Flug von Novgorod. I'm not going to talk too much about those experiences because I have whole separate videos about them. So for the purpose of this video, I want to talk mainly about the park itself. General thoughts, things you should know before you go, and so on and so forth. Now, I mentioned earlier how this park is right along the Baltic Sea. At some points when you're in the park, you can actually look out and see it. It's right there. So as a result, be aware that this park can get pretty windy. I mean, if you've been to a place like Cedar Point or any other park that is right up against the water, you know that you can get some crazy weather and winds. I definitely was surprised just how windy it was the day that we were there. But I think what I liked about this park was the general atmosphere around the place. Everything was very nicely themed, and they had a great general mix of attractions. I will say some rides were definitely more themed than others, but nothing in the park just blatantly looked bad. There were plenty of flowers. Each section of the park had a general theme to it. So there's a whole Wild West section because every theme park in Europe needs a Wild West section. There's a whole Spanish area near Carnen. And so I just liked how everything was so detailed. Even some of the lesser known rides had a really good queue line and station. One of those is the Gerstlauer Family Coaster, which most family coasters, you can get away with not really having any theming and no one would care. But at Hansa Park, they made sure that it has a very nice looking station and everything. And it's also cool because that's one of those coasters that actually goes around twice. And the Wild Mouse as well, Crazy Mine, has a very nice queue and station. And there's even theming along the ride course, including some animatronics. There's a band or like a little group playing music right along the coaster. And actually something that's cool about that Wild Mouse, if you get the chance, go up to the top of the tower that is right along the far side of Crazy Mine. You can go all the way up there, right up against the switchbacks, and it gives you a really cool view of the area, especially of Carnen. Some of the other roller coasters that they have, Nessie is their Schwarzkopf looping coaster. Runs great. It's an awesome Schwarzkopf. Now, the experience that I got is not going to be the same that you guys will have as of when this video is being made, because since my visit, Hansa Park actually redid the queue line and station for Nessie. It looks a lot better now. Before, it kind of had this old traditional Schwarzkopf station, didn't look very good, but now it has rockwork, medieval theming. Everything just looks a lot better now. It's almost unrecognizable. In addition, they also repainted the coasters, so instead of being green, it's now gray, and they removed the lighthouse in the middle because that is now where Highlander is, their massive gyro drop tower, tallest in the world. And as you can expect, I did not get to experience that either, so I will not be discussing that in this video. Last coaster I talked about, because like I said, I'm not going to talk about Flug von Novgorod or Der Schwere des Kernen, is their kiddie coaster. And this is so weird because it's this small little children's coaster, but they gave it like a fake wooden support structure, so it kind of makes it look like a wood coaster, but it's like obviously steel. So I don't really know what the point of that was, but I mean, I don't know, something different, I guess. Now let's talk about some of the other attractions that you'll find around Hansa Park. They do have plenty of water rides because Hansa Park does not have a water park, so you'll just find random water rides sprinkled around here and there. I did 2 of them. They have a log flume, which actually gets you pretty wet. And then they also have a raft ride on the far side of the park. That one has this pirate theme. And like I said, it's very well themed. They have animatronics on just this random raft ride. Most parks wouldn't do that, but it's so cool. It has this great looking station. And that ride actually doesn't get you very wet, so I didn't mind doing that one at all. They do have a few more water rides, but I did not do those. Some other notable attractions include their observation tower. Highly recommend that one. I always love going up, getting a view of the park. In terms of flat rides, you'll find a Gerstlauer Skyfly. That's right next to Carnen. And also right next to Carnen is this giant bell, and what a weird ride. This thing looks very cool. Like as you're watching, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Look at this giant bell. The riders are right underneath it. They're spinning like crazy. And then you do it and like it's unique, but the ride experience is kind of lame. It leaves a lot to be desired. You're like, wow, that could have been so much better than it actually was. But it is by far one of the most unique rides that you'll find at Hansa Park. Some other additions, they have this transportation train that'll take you all around the area. That's always nice. It's not a super big park, but it's still kind of cool that it'll take you everywhere so you can see everything, or if you're just interested in getting from one side to another. The park does have kind of a strange layout. There's a lot of paths that are kind of tucked away. There isn't like an obvious like circle layout or hub and spokes layout. It's just, okay, there's paths everywhere, go wherever you want. So because of that, there's a lot to see and do. I don't even think that I took every path while I was at Hansa Park because there's so many nooks and crannies. At one point, you'll find this bridge that goes out over the water that you can bounce on. At some points, there's a dirt path that goes through this like Indian camp, and that empties out into your Wild West section. And it's things like that that are just cool, like little hidden gems, but I can see how it could be confusing if you don't know where you're going. Now, I did have a meal here when I went to Hansa Park. I got lunch at this Wild West restaurant, and it was actually a full-on sit-down restaurant. There was a waiter, we had menus, and it was nice. They had a nice wide selection of options. I got a burger, but they also had steaks, ribs, you name it. So good food. I definitely recommend it. All the locals suggested that we ate there, and definitely did not disappoint. The only other food that I had at Hansa Park was at one point I did get an ice cream cone, and it was quality ice cream. You can find that at a little stand next to the log flume. So to just wrap up this Hansa Park review, the place is very cool. It wasn't my favorite park that I visited on the trip, but it was very nice, had some great rides, everything just looked good. It was just a very solid experience. And it definitely had some character to it. I mean, right when you arrive, you park across the street and go up an escalator across a road to get to the front entrance. There's not too many parks where you can see that. And then as you're walking around, you just see all the architecture, the different types of buildings. This park actually used to be a Legoland, for Pete's sake. So it obviously had some history, and I think this is one of those places that is going to continue to grow and expand. Additions like Carnon and Highlander are really putting this park on the global map. More people are starting to realize, oh, this is a place I should probably try and get to at some point. And I'm definitely glad that I got a chance to visit it. So do I recommend that you visit Hansa Park? I think you should if you can. Like I said, it's not too far from Denmark, but because Germany is so big, like let's say that you're visiting Europa Park, getting up to Hansa Park is going to be a pretty big drive, especially when you're probably going to pass some other theme parks along the way. Your closest major theme park to this is going to be Heide Park, which we went to the day before we did Hansa Park. So that's a very easy trip to do, those two right there. But that's going to do it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've been to Hansa Park, be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you agree with what I said, if you think I missed anything. Maybe if you're hoping to go here one day, I hope that this video helped you. And of course, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more park reviews. I'm reviewing parks from all across the world. You can find them organized in a playlist in alphabetical order, organized by the park's name. So be sure to check that out and stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios. I'll see you guys next time.